Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Wade's Movie World. Tonight is my review of the CW's superhero show Superman and Lois. This is my review for Season 2. In Season 1, I reviewed every single episode. With this season, I decided just to review the complete second season as a whole, and from there determine if I like reviewing each individual episode or reviewing this entire season as a whole. That way when Season 3 gets here, I can decide which way I like better. With all that being said, let's dive into the complete second season of Superman and Lois. If you remember, at the very end of the final episode of Season 1, after Superman and Steel, aka John Henry Irons, defeated Tal-Rho and stopped him from eradicating more citizens of Earth and turning them into Kryptonians using the Eradicator, Lois and Jonathan were working to get Zeta Rho's consciousness out of Jordan, and they were successful as Jordan returned to them. Everyone thought it was over with until John Henry Irons is about to leave the Kent farm when his AI picks up a signal, and he and Clark rush out of the barn thinking it's another attack or something. They both see a ship or pod that crash lands on the Kent farm not too far away from the house or the barn. John Henry Irons, Clark, Lois, and the boys all see it hit the ground in a violent manner, and then the hatch of the craft opens up, and much to everyone's surprise, out comes Natalie Irons, John's teenage daughter from his Earth, who he thought he would never see again. They both run towards each other and embrace in a long overdue hug. Natalie looks up and sees Lois, thinking it is her mom, Lois, from her Earth. Natalie says, "Mom," and Natalie starts to run towards her when John stops her and says, "Nat, that's not our Lois." Lois just stands there not sure what to do or what to say, and that is how Season 1 ended. Season 2 picks up about 5 or 6 months later. The dust is settling down following all the craziness in Smallville and the battle between Superman and his brother Tal-Rho. Smallville's profile in the nation is growing, but even though everyone thinks the town is okay and back to normal now, it does not stay that way for long. Lois is not sure what to feel with the arrival of Natalie Irons. Chrissy Beppo and Lois are now together trying to run the Smallville Gazette and are looking to hire more people to help out in the office. However, they are both divided by an old story that has a very personal connection to Lois, which could affect her personal credibility as well as her family, but most of all her younger sister, Lucy Lane. General Lane has now retired from the United States Army and the DoD, and a new person has taken over that spot, a man by the name of Lieutenant Mitch Anderson. Lieutenant Anderson and Superman don't see eye to eye on a lot of things, which makes Anderson very hard to work with, and Anderson questions Superman's loyalties. Jonathan and Jordan also have their own problems. Jonathan struggles with being a high school athlete football player as he feels like he's being overlooked by Coach Gaines and that he should be getting the starting quarterback position and not this other kid named Timmy. Jordan struggles in his relationship with Sarah because he has to keep his powers a secret from Sarah, and he feels like that is driving them apart. Lana has now jumped into local politics in town, and she is finding this more demanding than she thought it would be, plus Kyle worries about family secrets as well as a secret he is keeping that could threaten his family. As far as John Henry Irons and Natalie, they attempt to make this Earth their new home while trying to figure out their place in the Kents' lives. With all this going on, a new threat emerges from within the walls of the Schuster mines, where this thing is trying to break free and is mad and angry. All the while, unknown to what is happening, Clark, Superman, starts having these feelings, visions, and panic attacks that become increasingly dangerous because it can affect his powers, and it puts himself as well as others in danger. He experiences one during a save rescue with a submarine. He experiences even more as the days go on, and they are getting worse, and it is scaring Clark. Lieutenant Mitch Anderson puts together a 3-person team of metahumans, but they are only kids and Superman does not approve. One of the members of the team is someone Superman knows, and that is Tag Harris. Lois and her younger sister Lucy are at odds with each other, and Lucy is now part of what is thought to be a group for self-help run by an older lady by the name of Allie Alston, who wears a strange glowing pendant around her neck. Little does Lucy know that this group is really a type of cult led by Allie Alston to go to an inverse world and have herself and the group merge with their doppelgangers over there, but Allie doesn't have everything she needs yet in order to be able to do that. The thing that's been giving Clark, Superman, the visions and the panic attacks finally breaks out of the Schuster minds, and Superman and Steel go to confront it. During the confrontation, the creature's helmet gets partially destroyed and the creature's face is revealed, and Superman realizes it's him, only this is a different version of him, and his face is all messed up and white with these dark scratches and marks all over his face, and his eyes are glowing blue. The only difference is that everything about this Kal-El is reversed. Everything from his suit, his symbol, as well as his powers. During another confrontation between Superman and this Bizarro Superman, John Henry Irons comes to help, but his suit power is almost depleted, and Anderson's team comes to help as well, but two of the members of Anderson's team are killed, and one barely escapes, and that one who escapes is Tag Harris. During the fight, John Henry Irons gets seriously hurt, and Superman takes both Irons and Tag Harris to the hospital. Superman is able to retrieve a certain glowing pendant that Bizarro Superman had around his neck and turns it over to Anderson. Superman takes Bizarro Superman to Talro's Fortress of Solitude in the desert and keeps him imprisoned there. Mitch Anderson grows increasingly suspicious of Superman and feels as though he can't be trusted because he doesn't know where his loyalties really lie. Anderson sets a trap for Superman and is able to capture him and places him in the exact same prison cell with his brother Talro. Superman, with the help of Talro, eventually escapes, and Anderson goes AWOL with the pendant that Superman gave him. He takes it and finds Allie Alston and gives it to her, and now she's in possession of both pendants, which gives her everything she needs to merge with her other self on the inverse Earth. The boys are having a not-so-great year because, for Jonathan, he is not the star starting quarterback on the football team that he wishes to be, and he is given by his girlfriend X-Kryptonite in the form of an inhaler drug, and he can use it to enhance his abilities on the football field. But that doesn't last long, and his plan to keep taking it backfires on him during a high school drug search that happens at the school. Police officers as well as a drug detection canine dog come to the school, and Jonathan is caught with a lot of XK inhalers in his school bag, and he is taken to the police station, and he almost gets charged with drug possession with intent to sell. Jonathan gets suspended from school for a certain length of time, and Lois is furious, and Clark is so disappointed that his relationship with his son gets put to the test. Jordan and Sarah struggle with their relationship because they are both hiding something from each other, but Jordan's secret is really what is driving them apart, and they end up breaking up with each other mid-season. Before going to Allie Alston, Anderson finds out where Superman is keeping Bizarro Superman, and Anderson uses the same drug that Jonathan had used and had in his school bag, and it temporarily gives him powers, which he uses to infiltrate Talro's fortress and kill Bizarro Superman. A portal is discovered in the Schuster mines in Smallville, and it is now how Allie and her followers will travel to the inverse Bizarro world on the other side of the portal, and it is also how the Bizarro Superman got to this Earth. A handful of followers get sucked into the portal, but most of them do not survive. Lieutenant Anderson gets pulled through right after he steals the pendant from Allie that was the one that Bizarro Superman had. He makes it through the portal because he inhaled the XK. However, Allie still has her pendant. Chrissy Beppo, who is with Allie and her followers to find out what she is really up to, almost gets killed herself. Superman saves Chrissy, Allie, and another person. Allie is arrested and taken to the DOD. John Henry Irons is doing okay and is released from the hospital, but Lois and Natalie are beginning to suspect he might have had some sort of trauma to the brain during his battle with Bizarro Superman. But for the most part, John Henry Irons is okay. Allie is questioned by Sam Lane at the DOD, but he doesn't get anything out of her. Later on, Allie is broken out of the DOD by Lucy Lane, who drugged her dad's tea and stole his access card to get in and release Allie. Allie returns to the mines and goes through the portal herself. Superman, with his super hearing, learns Allie has escaped the DOD, and he flies to the mines and learns Allie has gone through, and Superman flies in circles numerous times, creating a vortex that helps him gain momentum and speed, and he flies into the portal. He goes through and sees this new inverse Bizarro Earth, which is in the form of a cube shape, not a round sphere shape like this Earth. And also the sun is red and not yellow. Superman goes to the Kent farm on the inverse world and meets John L. or Jonathan from that Earth. We, the audience, learn about everything that transpired on this Earth and how Bizarro Superman came to this Earth not to kill Superman but to stop Alley and destroy both pennants by any means necessary. Lieutenant Anderson finds Superman and he tells Superman he was wrong and apologizes to him. Superman accepts his apology and they team up together to join the Kent family of the inverse Earth in order to stop Alley. Both versions of Alley Alston find each other and with the help of one of the pendants begin to merge with each other. Later, John L. goes to the mines and flies into the portal to get to Superman's Earth to merge with Superman's son Jonathan on that Earth. Superman follows John L. back to the mines and goes through the portal back to his own Earth. John L. arrives at the Kent farm and tries to merge with Jonathan. Jordan tries to stop John L., but is not powerful enough, and Superman gets there just in time to save Jonathan. When Superman is gone from this Earth, he learns he's been gone a month, but on the inverse Earth, it has just been like a day, maybe two, that he's been gone on that side. Lana ends up running for the mayor of Smallville, and she wins. Clark locates John L. and runs into Lana, who didn't know he was back, and Clark just kind of brushes her off as he's trying to locate John L. in town, but by the time Clark looks back in that direction, John L. is gone. The next day, John L. kidnaps now Mayor Lana Lang Cushing and brings her to an old abandoned slaughterhouse and sets a trap for Superman. A bomb explodes from a propane tank and Superman shields Lana from the blast, only to be hit with pieces of green kryptonite that pierce his upper body, and John L. stabs Superman in the chest with a sharp piece of green kryptonite right in the center of his chest. Lana helps Superman and removes the chunks of kryptonite out of Superman's body, and as soon as he regains strength, he flies her home. Later on, Clark, Lois, and the boys decide that Clark needs to tell Lana his secret. Clark finds Lana and reveals his secret that he is Superman to her. She is not sure what to think and tells him that she needs time to process what she just found out. Natalie has been working on a secret project she created and has created her own suit like her dad's suit and shows it to Jordan and Jonathan. John Henry Irons finds out about the suit and he is not happy about it and wants it destroyed. However, after much thought, they both come to an understanding about her suit and he lets her keep it. Sometime later, Superman visits his brother again. He tells Tal that he needs his help to destroy Alley's pendant. However, this would not be a solo effort like before, as Clark enlisted General Lane and John Henry Irons for tech support and backup to ensure that the calculations were correct to prevent Alley from reclaiming the pendant. Tal asked Clark if he could apologize to Lois, bringing her flowers and promising to her that he would never hurt his nephews again. After destroying Alley's pendant, Tal takes off with the pendant before Alley could notice, leaving Superman and John Henry Irons confused. Lois, Sam, and Chrissy go to find Lucy, and they locate her and some of Alley's followers. Lucy takes Lois's ELT from her and uses it to contact Superman. He arrives to see Alley Alston, who has gotten there and has fully merged with her other self. She is there and she is absorbing Sam Lane's life force. Superman tries to stop her, but she absorbed his powers and almost killed him as well. Natalie and John Henry Irons arrive, and as they do, Alley gets away. They both land and see Superman unconscious, and with power from their suits, they try to restart Superman's heart and are successful. Clark is then hospitalized. Sam is also hospitalized, and Lucy finally realizes her mistake to ever trust Alley Alston and apologizes to her father. Clark finally wakes up in the hospital with Lois next to him, keeping a constant visual of her husband. Clark and Lois return home to the farm, but Clark is powerless. He asks John Henry Irons for help to take him to Talrose Fortress to consult with his mother and see what is happening with his powers. Alley begins merging the Earth and the inverse Earth. When that happens, both people and objects from both worlds begin to pass through the portals and merge. Clark and his family are then transported to the inverse world, but then are transported back to their Earth. As Alley merges the worlds, people across the Earth notice that there was a second sun in the sky that is turning the skies red. Talro tries to stop Alley from merging the worlds, and as Talro tries to engage her, she starts to absorb his powers from him just like she did to Superman, but Jordan Kent appears and stops her. Clark realizes he must recharge and get his powers back by giving them a jump start by having his brother Tal-Ro fly him to the sun and throw him directly into it. Tal-Ro shows up and flies his brother into space and to the sun. Tal-Ro throws Superman directly into the sun to recharge himself and regain his powers and stop Allie. John Henry Irons and Natalie fly through the portals to the space between the two worlds where Allie is using her power to merge the worlds together. They both try to destroy the portals, but it doesn't work, and Allie tries to kill them both, but they are saved by Superman. Superman and Allie fight with each other, and Allie tries to absorb his powers once again, but since he is recharged and his body and suit are glowing like the sun, this overwhelms her and causes her to lose her powers and split back into both versions of herself. Both Allies fall from the stratosphere and both are saved by Superman. Superman drops both Allies off to John and Natalie, who keep them apart, and they are arrested by the Department of Defense. Superman flies back up into space and circles both Earths really fast by flying around both Earths using all his strength and speed, and lands on his Earth hard and fast, punching the ground with one powerful punch that separates the worlds back to the original way that they are supposed to be. Superman lands back down on his Earth in the center of Smallville to smiles and cheers and applause for once again saving the Earths. Both Allies are taken to the DoD, where they are held in the same cell, but they are powerless. They are later interrogated by Lois Lane, who asked if, when they merged, if they felt complete, and they replied that at first they felt joy and that they didn't want to be alone, with Lois saying that they wouldn't be alone anymore. Clark takes Lois and the boys on an ocean adventure, using a sun crystal from Tal-Ro's fortress, and throws it into the icy waters of the ocean where they are at, which creates a new Fortress of Solitude which the entire family can visit. And that is how Superman and Lois Season 2 ends. Wow, Season 1 of Superman and Lois was really, really good. I wasn't sure how Season 2 would be or how they would be able to top what they did in Season 1. Well, let me just say, they topped Season 1. Season 2 was absolutely incredible. Like movies, TV shows are not perfect and they have flaws and mistakes in them as well. But it was hard for me to tell where the mistakes were and what they were. I know there were mistakes in this season of Superman and Lois, but I didn't see them or hear them or, anything like that. But I do know they were there. But did they hurt this season? No, not at all. Like Season 1, you think you know who the villain is going to be in the first few episodes, and then they throw a curveball at you, and you're in pure shock because you think you figured it out, and then you find out that you were wrong, and you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I never saw that coming. Well, I was one of those people who was shocked by that curveball, both in Season 1 and in this season as well. You think it is going to be Doomsday in this season because of what they show in the episodes, and it shows someone or something punching through the ground or through rock, and that is exactly like how Doomsday comes through, but in fact it's not Doomsday at all. It in fact turns out to be Bizarro Superman from the Bizarro Earth, who has come through to this Earth from an open portal inside the Schuster mines. He is sort of the villain, but he's also trying to stop the main villain, who is later on revealed as Allie Alston, who is a supposed author, counselor, psychologist of sorts, but really and truly she's the leader of this cult who brainwashes her followers, including Lois's little sister Lucy Lane. Allie believes that both she and her followers will be whole and made complete when they merge with their other selves or doppelgangers on the Bizarro Earth, and they will all become godlike people if that happens. The story for this season was amazing. The story was solid and it was easy to comprehend. The season was more like an edge-of-your-seat thriller with comic book characters. There were parts of it, especially towards the middle and end of the season, where things really ramp up, and it reminded me of the primetime TV show on Fox called 24, starring Kiefer Sutherland. I mean, that's exactly how edgy this season of Superman and Lois was. This season just blew me away, but in a good way. The acting is just as superb as it was in Season 1. Heck, I think the main actors stepped up their performances in Season 2. Everyone, including the main cast, the co-starring actors, as well as the guest actors, all did amazing. They really get into these characters and bring their A game for every episode. My gosh, for season 2, it's like they took their acting from season 1 and really pushed themselves, and they really gave it their all. We see more depth to the characters as they have grown from season 1 and as they continue to grow in front of us in season 2. Tyler Hoechlin really pushed himself with playing Bizarro Superman and really dug deep into his skills and had to show himself in a darker tone, and man, he really delivered. The same goes for Elizabeth Tulloch, both as Lois Lane and Bizarro Lois. She pushed herself for both characters and gave a wonderful performance for both. Jordan Ellis, who plays Jonathan or John L. like Tyler Hoechlin, had to go into a darker part of himself to bring out the evil John L., and man, he was so scary and believable. Alex Garfin, who plays Jordan, has really grown since season 1. His acting was great as well, especially as the season went on. It was great to see how much this character has grown and evolved since season 1. We see how he has adapted to his powers and is discovering more powers and starts training. But we also see that it hurts him because he can't tell Sarah about his powers, and we see how it is straining their relationship. The visual and special effects in season 2 are great, if not better than they were in season 1. The flying effects are so believable that it looks just as good as the flying from other live-action DC movies or TV shows. I will say most of the effects of this show make the effects of the TV show Smallville look like child's play. All the effects, not just the flying effects, but others, are top-notch. They use, of course, CGI and digital effects along with practical effects. They also use a lot of green screen and wire work. Again, they do use practical effects for a lot of things, but they also use a lot of digital stuff as well. And they blend it together so well, and it looks almost as good as a major motion picture comic book movie. The look of this season has a pretty dark look, and it uses a lot of darker colors. It uses dark blues, dark grays, dark oranges, dark reds, maroons, some blacks, and dark greens. There are some lighter golds and yellows as well, but it fits this season because of what is going on and the theme of the season, which is small town, big secrets. This season is a lot darker than the first season. This season has a few horror elements in it. This season reminds me a lot of The Flash season 2 because the second season of The Flash was a lot darker than the first season because of Zoom. One of the best things about this season was the guest directors that came on to direct some of the episodes. David Ramsey, John Diggle from Arrow, directed episode 2. Amy Jo Johnson, who played Kimberly the Pink Ranger from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers TV series, directed episodes 6 and 11. Elizabeth Henstridge, Agent Gemma Simmons from Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., directed episode 7. All of these guest directors did a marvelous job. Just all around round of applause for these guest directors. It was great. The score music by Dan Romer is great once again, and it builds on the score music from season 1. Though again, I would still love to hear the Superman theme from CW's Supergirl by Blake Neely in Superman and Lois at least once. As far as the future of Superman and Lois going into season 3, is there anything particular that I would like to see? The short answer to that question is yes. I would love to see Grant Gustin's Barry Allen Flash crossover, as well as Melissa Benoist's Carl Danvers Supergirl. And heck, I would even love to see Brandon Routh's Clark Kent Kingdom Come Superman come over as well. I'm actually wondering if we're going to get to see John Cryer's Lex Luthor come over to this series. That would be really interesting to see, is Tyler Hoechlin's Superman up against John Cryer's Lex Luthor. The one thing this universe still needs is a Batman. It would be cool if for season 3, if Superman goes over to John Henry Irons' Earth to take on and stop the evil black-suited Superman. Plus, John Henry Irons and maybe even Tal Rho could help out as well, and I'm sure John Henry Irons would be up for the challenge since the black-suited Superman killed his Lois Lane. Okay, that is pretty much everything wrapped up in a nice little bow on what I have to say about this season. So after watching this season and giving it much thought, I'm going to give Superman and Lois Season 2 a high-flying A+. here are my final thoughts. Season 1 was really good, but this season, wow, was just freaking amazing. I just can't get over how great this show is. I hope this show can keep this momentum going and keep riding this wave of greatness that it is currently on. I love this show and I hope it keeps going for many more seasons and years to come. One thing that I just thought about that would be cool to see is if somehow when Tall-Ro threw Superman into the sun, when he is in there recharging his powers, if somehow that is how Nuclear Man gets created, like from Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, and he becomes the new antagonist for Season 3. That's just me thinking out loud. Okay, like I said, this season was just amazing. Just amazing, amazing, amazing. I'm going to end this video by saying thank you all so much for watching. Good night. God bless. I love all of you, and I will see you all in the next video. Long live Superman.